Always great catching up with my next guest, KB Bhullar, who's going to be fighting on Contender Series. He's going to be taking on Bruno Oliveira. KB, how's it going, man?
It's going well, man. It's going really good.
Congrats on the opportunity. When did you find out about this? Because I think anyone who's been following MMA, especially on the Canadian regional scene, knew that it was only a matter of time.
I've known for about 4 or 5 months. Originally, it was actually, so I was supposed to go down in June like normal, but with COVID, everything kind of got derailed. And then when Contender Series got brought back up again to me about 2 months ago, so known for a bit.
Yeah, and it's long overdue. You know, I heard, just from people I know in sort of the know, that I know the UFC has been on your radar, I think, since last October. Basically, when Tanner made his debut in Boston, I know they'd been kind of poking around about you. Were there any, talks of you potentially taking a fight on short notice for the UFC or anything like that? Because I figured when I was hearing rumblings about that, I thought it was only a matter of time before they were going to just outright sign you.
Yeah, there was some rumblings about that, but the thing was, none of it got brought up directly to me. So I just had to keep, my head on the ground and not get too caught up on it. I kept hearing other people tell me and stuff, but now it's here, so make the most of it.
Absolutely. And great opportunity at hand. Also, I know you've switched management. You're now with Dominance. How did that come together, with you being rep by them? I know they have a lot of fighters on the roster.
Some sort of issues came up with my previous management team, and my biggest disgruntlement with them was just what seemed like complete disorganization. And I just felt like with my career, I needed to take a different route in terms of management. And Sonny from Unified, the CEO of Unified,
of course, I know Sonny quite
helped me out at the time and pointed me in the direction of Ali Abdelaziz, and Ali was willing to take me on. So that's kind of how that transpired.
Excellent. Well, that's good. I know he creates a lot of opportunities. I mean, we just saw today that Cody Garbrandt's going to be fighting for the flyweight title, so obviously he's great at his job. But you've actually sort of been with the UFC for a bit already, because your teammate Tanner Boser has just been on a tear lately. I know you're one of his main training partners. What's it been like to watch his dominance this year? In terms of what he's been doing in the cage. I mean, we've always known this, but to actually see him get back-to-back finishes like this, it must be pretty cool as a teammate.
Oh, it's amazing, man. Tanner is the hardest working guy I know, period. He's a monster, just his work ethic alone. And he deserves every bit of this. It's been really incredible seeing just the change in him over the years, physically especially, but he's always kind of had that edge to him mentally that would get him through some of the most brutal training sessions. I've seen that guy go through hell and back. And the thing about Tanner is he's unbreakable, man. He's steel, that guy.
Yeah, and again, it's probably, I'm sure, and you got to go with him actually for his last fight, which I know there were some issues there with the false positive test. What was it like getting to go, to Fight Island and be a part of that whole thing?
It was super cool, a very unique experience. You probably won't get to go through that again unless this pandemic's around forever. But for example, we got to Las Vegas as a connection, and we had to quarantine in Las Vegas for 2 days in a hotel room. Once our test came back negative, we were then put on a chartered flight to Abu Dhabi. The moment we arrived in Abu Dhabi, we had to quarantine once again for 2 days. And then, surprisingly, once we're released from quarantine, about 2 days later, we had to go back into quarantine again because of a false positive test. And then there was even more extensive testing before that as well. But it was just a crazy thing. You're in this beautiful resort, and there's people in hazmat suits everywhere. We're not really allowed to, we're really incubated within the space of the resort. So it was just a unique experience, to say the least,
And do you feel like in some ways, like getting to do that walk and everything, like, do you feel like that'll help you eventually, you know, when you do get to the UFC where it's like, you know, you've already experienced that in terms of the bright lights and everything? Because that is something for people, like even this fight with the Contender Series, like, do you feel like that's an advantage going through all that with Tanner?
Maybe in a sense, but I mean, everyone talks about like the bright lights and the glitz and glamour, but you know, it's a cage fight in the end.
Right.
Like the rules are the same. The rules are the same. Nothing changes. You make the same kind of walk. You're in the back locker room. You're getting your hands taped. Like there's a commission there. It's all really the same. It's once you in your head choose to let all that seep in and make it different, then you know you're doing that to yourself, and you're letting it affect you. You're letting external pressures affect you. But you know, to answer your question, like it did help. Yeah, going there with Tanner and getting to see it all firsthand, especially on the Fight Island event, like with it being completely quiet and everything. That is a little bit different, but I mean, overall, it's all the same. It's all the same. The bright lights are bright even on regional card scenes. You know, it's not like we get like disco pink lights and then the UFC.
That's true. Yeah. I know. I hear what you mean. Last thing on Tanner, just because, you know, this is something only you and I can sort of talk about. But I mean, I've interviewed Tanner for years. I know he's definitely a different guy when it comes to interviews and things like that. Has it been funny for you to watch Tanner do media now? Because he's getting more, obviously he's getting more popular. He's getting, you know, bigger names sort of interviewing him. And Tanner's just, it doesn't matter to him. He treats every interview the same. He's very direct and he's very funny. Like I'm enjoying this entirely. But for you as someone who's around him 24/7, you must be enjoying the hell out of it.
Oh, it's so funny, man. It's funny because he's a character, man. That's who he is. He doesn't.
Do you want to go to like heavyweight? Like that
life
stuff. It's like you're just asking for a death sentence when you ask that stuff to him. It's great.
Yeah, it's like I always tell him, I'm like, you're like a real life version of like the Hound from Game of Thrones.
Yes, good analogy.
And Wolverine. Like if Wolverine and the Hound made like a child, it would be him.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. Let's talk about Bruno Oliveira. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him?
There's honestly not a lot on him. There's not a lot on him. Like he's my height, so my height advantage is nullified. He's got my reach, so my reach advantage is nullified. He's big. He's a big guy. He trains at an incredible team, at American Top Team. So he's probably got like tons of just like world champion-esque bodies to work with all day. He's probably got like the best coaches in the world. And the weather there is probably just beautiful too. So he's just getting like, you know, he's probably going to come in with a wicked tan.
You're getting pretty good weather in Edmonton though right now, aren't you?
But not Miami weather, man. Not Miami
that's true.
weather.
Yeah, that's true. Not tropical, but at least warm. Because I'm in Vancouver. I'm in Vancouver, and we're getting pretty decent weather.
Are you? Yeah, it's just rainy as shit here. What else do I know about him? He likes to just knock people out. He likes to just hit them and they fall down. That's what he does, I think. But I mean, I can't go too much off of like just looking at tape and records because I don't think he hasn't faced an individual that matches him in physical stature, and I think I also bring some intangibles to the table. So we will see, you know, we'll see ultimately like what he chooses to do that day. I can't get too caught up in speculation just based off of past fights and records because, you know, this fight is different.
Well, not just that. I mean, you're used to having opponents fall out on the regional scene and having to fight guys at the last minute. So, I mean, you're sort of used to that anyways. Where in the sense of you sort of focus on your skills, not necessarily on what your opponent's bringing to the table, I would think.
Yeah. You take into account like, okay, what does this individual bring in terms of their physical stature, maybe their past fights, tendencies and whatnot. But like, don't get too caught up in it. Don't become too attached to what you think they will do, and try and, you know, expect the unexpected.
Training camp. I know this fight's in a little bit, but how are you structuring things? I imagine just, you know, stay at home base, keep training. I guess Tanner's probably taking some time off. So Teddy Ashton there with you as far as training partners and bodies in the gym.
Yeah, it's the usual suspects for me. Same old guys. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Same guys, Shane Bears MMA.
Yeah, great crew over there. When does the weight cut start for you? Like, do you? I can't. I was trying to remember how much weight you actually cut, but it's I don't think it's a crazy amount or anything like that.
I don't, man. Jeff's having us lift a lot of weights right now, and like I don't know what it is, but like I'll start lifting weights and like I just balloon up right away. So I'll probably be like cutting from 205, likely 205, 205, 203. So that'll likely be where I cut from.
I know it's a ways out, but I imagine the corner is probably going to be the same for this one.
No, because with Tanner's fight with Arlovsky, I can't have him in my corner because Canada has that quarantine.
That's right. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, that's true.
So I'm still kind of figuring out exactly what my cornering situation is. And they haven't entirely gotten back to me about like how many and who I can bring and whatnot. So it'll depend. It'll depend on what happens that day. But yeah,
I was going to say too, your manager lives in Vegas. I'm sure you could get some people from Extreme or something. If you needed someone else, like another look, like I'm sure there would be some people if you had to go that route. If you couldn't get anyone to come over with you.
Yeah, maybe that could work too. That's a good suggestion. There you go.
No problem. That's what we're not just doing an interview. I'm giving advice here too, so it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
How's the fight playing out in the first? I mean, anyone who's watched you, I mean, that especially that win over Matt Dwyer you had. I mean, you always bring it, and I think you're the exact style of what they're looking for in signing a UFC contract. How do you envision the fight playing out?
Take a bite of my omelet and answer that question.
Dramatic pause, as we call it here.
I'm going to win this fight. I'm going to win this fight with one of two things. I'm the first guy to ever win a flying omoplata. I have flying omoplata or leaping scissor kick. It's one of those things. It's one of those things. If Bruno comes out, if Bruno wins, he wins by just basically coming out and just cleaving my head off in the first like minute. But I'm going to do everything in my power to not make that happen. On paper, it just makes for an exciting fight. I think the styles match up really well. But I'm going to do everything in my power to come out on top. I just gotta focus on me and show up that day, show up that day with the desire to make sure that, this has been a long time coming and I've got to make good on that, I got to show them what I'm about. So I just got to represent my style. And if I do, then, I know I'll win.
Well, that's what I'm so excited for about this season. I mean, we just had at the time of recording this, we had the first episode or first event last week, and then we've got all these ones coming up. But there's a lot of Canadians on this year, and I think we're going to see a lot of contracts. Not just yourself, but you got TJ Laramie, you've got Anthony Romero. It's really cool to see them because I know last year was just Teddy. I think it was Teddy, Aaron Jeffrey, and Dustin, the heavyweight, were the only Canadians on there. And this year, it seems like they're getting a little bit more, like Jamie Lynn Horth's on the card coming up here soon. So, I'm really excited. And I think I've always said this, there's a lot of good talent in Canada. It's just a matter of getting the opportunity. And I'm so glad to see someone like yourself get this because I think we all knew, the talent level. It's just a matter of getting that opportunity.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for the opportunity. I'm happy that I can fight because there's a lot of guys right now that can't fight and they really want to. And that's shitty. That's a really shitty situation because you're in the prime of your physical life and you can't compete. That's a really shitty feeling. So I'm just grateful to be able to fight, and then I want to get this contract and I want to stay active and keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting,
I hear you. Before we go, always got to ask about downtime. I know in between training and stuff, you're probably fitting in some time to do some stuff, whether it's watch TV or play video games or something. What are you doing on your downtime right now, especially during quarantine? Because I'm sure you got a little bit extra time.
Man, trying to I watch tape. I
study
kind
fights.
Of sometimes Cajo would give me fights to watch. I watch that. Where I just watch tape myself. I watch a lot of boxing, a lot of kickboxing, even like a lot of old MMA fights. Like yesterday, I was kind of going through all of Spider Silva's career, some of those old fights, vintage Anderson, you know, catching up on some of the Contender Series fights that happened. So it's an all-day thing, man. And then if I'm not doing that, I'll be teaching or like working with some of my students. So that's it, man. That's it. And then at night, you know, when it's time to sleep, I'll throw on a Friends episode and just.
I've been trying to get Tanner on Trailer Park Boys. I don't imagine you've seen that show, have you?
No, I haven't. He's trying to get me to watch Letterkenny.
Yeah, so that's the other one I heard. It's like, not like Trailer Park Boys, but I've been told from a lot of people that I would like that show. I think it would be funny. So I got to watch that. But I've been telling Tanner, because it's an older show, Trailer Park Boys. It's been out for a while. But I just think for his humor, I think it would fit for what he would like to watch. So I keep harping on him. But I think one of these days he'll get around to watching it. So
yeah, maybe.
He's a tough sell, though, you know?
I think he keeps trying to get me to watch Letterkenny. So I might have to give that a go.
Yeah, you should check it out. But we got to check you out coming up here at Contender Series. We're looking forward to it. Again, KB, congratulations, and so glad to see you get this opportunity. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs or thank yous or anything like that, the floor is yours.
You can find me on Instagram at Bengal Bhullar. That's just my fight name, and then my last name, Bhullar. Tune into the fight, September 22nd, not September 1st. Because the Brazilian media falsely reported that. But it's September 22nd, so that's when I'll be fighting.